The phenomenon, illusion of choice, has been gaining popularity for the last few decades. Going to a superstore can make you feel overwhelmed with jam-packed shelves containing a hell of a lot of different products. Well, most of the brands are more often owned by a single company. Doesn't matter from where you shop, the profit goes to the same pocket. This is not a bad strategy for business after all. It is famous among all different industries. But in today's video, we're going to cover a restaurant company, Yum Brands, that is running 3 of the big chains. Before starting the video, make sure to click on the subscribe button to Income Shortcut and tap on the notify icon to watch more interesting videos. Yum Brands is the company behind the famous restaurants KFC, Taco Bell, and Pizza Hut. All of them have an ordinary origin. We'll start by starving you while looking at the big brand Pizza Hut. Although pizza is one of the most famous dishes in the US, it actually became popular when soldiers returned from Italy after World War II. In 1950, pizza was very rare to see and mostly found in nearby communities of Italian immigrants. Dan and Frank Carney, who were inspired by one of the small places, decided to open a pizza restaurant in their Wichita State University. The tiny building of their restaurant looked like a hut, so they named it Pizza Hut. Within 1 year, their business was growing, and after that first year, they got their first franchise contract in the city of Topeka. As pizza started gaining popularity in the U.S., the Pizza Hut branches also increased. After great success in 1966 and an increase in the number of restaurants, the Carney brothers decided to open international franchises. They started their spread in Canada, Germany, Australia, and Great Britain. In 1971, Pizza Hut had expanded to 1,000 restaurants and became the largest pizza chain in the world. The expansive fast food chains don't stop there. Next, we'll take a look into another huge brand, KFC, and its well-known founder, Colonel Sanders. Colonel Sanders' real name is Harlan Sanders. Harlan opened his first restaurant in 1930 at the same time he acquired a gas station in North Corbin. Of course, this was at the time of the Great Depression, so running a gas station was not very economical. This was the very reason the gas station was handed over to Sanders. He was already 40 years old, and by this point, he already worked several jobs. He was always striving to be successful, but opening the restaurant was his first genuine success. He served his customers with pork steaks, country ham, and above all, the tasty fried chicken. His chicken recipe was so popular that it made him a local celebrity. The Kentucky governor also gave him an honorary Kentucky Colonel Award for his delicious cooking efforts. He continued his efforts and came up with a perfect recipe in 1940, a combination of 11 herbs and spices. In 1952, Sanders franchised his chicken recipe to Pete Harmon, and later on, Harmon became a great contributor to the initial franchise. Pete Harmon is also the one who came up with the successful name of Kentucky Fried Chicken and trademarked the famous finger-licking good slogan. By 1956, Sanders had opened 6 other franchises, but the original North Corbin restaurant failed due to the new Interstate 75 highway diversion. After that, Sanders started traveling around the U.S. and sought restaurants to franchise his chicken recipe. That endeavor was a huge struggle at the start, but later on the hard work paid off and it became an enormous success. The franchise numbers doubled and tripled by 1963, and KFC became the largest fast food operation with over 600 franchises nationwide. By this point, managing KFC became too hectic to handle for 74-year-old Sanders, and he sold his company for $2 million in 1964. We'll find out who buys KFC later in the video. Well, the last brand we'll dive into is Taco Bell, whose creator was a man named Glenn Bell. After going through all the destruction of World War II, Glenn aimed to bring happiness to his community. He opened a hot dog stand in San Bernardino in 1946. Glenn always went to the famous Mexican restaurant across the street. He made a good friendship with the restaurant owner and learned the art of making reliable and tasty food. From this foundation, Glenn built confidence and started making tacos on his hot dog stand. For the next 10 years, he experimented with many ideas for Mexican fast food restaurants. All of his chains were proven to be a great success, but they all started on shared ventures in which Glenn was only a small shareholder. Eventually, being an independent guy, Glenn sold his stakes and started his own company in 1962 in Downey, California. This startup would come to be known as Taco Bell. The 1960s was a decade in which the franchising phenomenon was famous, and the initial adopters are successful in their business. In 1964, the first franchise contract of Taco Bell was signed in Los Angeles. After 6 years of success, in 1970, when the company was made public, it comprised 325 franchised restaurants. By the late 1970s, the future of the global restaurant industry could easily be predicted. It was at this point that a major company came into action. This company was known as Pepsi, and not the drink company. Pizza Hut and Taco Bell went public in the late 1970s, and at the time, Pepsi took over both the companies. On the contrary, KFC was not publicized and changed many times before finally being taken over by Pepsi for $850 million in 1986. Having 3 3 big franchises by this point, surely Pepsi was the largest restaurant company in the world. In 1997, Pepsi made a controversial decision to spin the restaurant business into a different company. The reason that it provided for this decision was the unpredictability in the restaurant business, which was easy to understand due to the decrease in domestic sales. However, after becoming independent from Pepsi, the company Tricon Global Restaurants achieved enormous success. They provided their franchises a great lift by introducing new products and menus. By 2002, the company changed its name to Yum Brands to enhance its business, and they came up with a better multi-brand strategy. All the way until they have had huge success across the world, specifically in China. Several bumps have of course been faced due to different circumstances over time, but through it all, they have done great in business and become the biggest restaurant company in the US. Well, that's it for today's video. I hope you enjoyed it. Make sure to give it a big thumbs up, and also don't forget to subscribe to our channel, Income Shortcut. And as always, thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.